Welcome to the GT4 European Series at Zandvoort. We had the most fantastic racing yesterday and the track conditions look perfect today. It's late September, but the sun is shining. The track now dry after overnight rain. Wind just blowing across the dunes, but it really was exquisite racing yesterday. And at the end, Bastian Buus and Jan Kasperlik made it 2 wins on the bounce, having taken the second win at the previous meeting at Nürburgring. But here at Zandvoort yesterday, they came good, and they're also in the Pro-Am class, so it was really, really impressive for them to take the victory. And it was very hard fought indeed. So we've got an hour of action lying ahead of us, and I just can't wait for it to start. Hour of action. Pit stop window will open after 25 minutes. It will close again after 35 minutes duration in this race, and we'll go on to the hour mark. And will it be Bastian Buus and Jan Kasperlik winning in Allied Racing for Porsche Cayman for a 3rd race in a row? You can be sure, particularly AGS events with the Aston Martin that finished yesterday. Thio Nue and Valentin Haskell. There is that car. Valentin will start it today, car number 27, the Aston Martin Vantage. They were right with them at the end of the race. Only 2 and a bit seconds between them. But for all of these drivers, it's their first experience of racing on the new banked corners. Hugenholzbocht, that's effectively the 3rd turn of the lap just behind the paddock. And then the final corner, Arie Luijendijk-Bocht. Right now we're just riding with the Aston Martin, getting heat into the tyres. Valentin Haskell, who really drove well in the closing laps of the race yesterday. Coming up towards another corner, the 3rd corner that was actually slightly modified. It's the Hans-Ernst-Bocht. It's always been a bit of a nothing corner, but it's not quite as sharp as it used to be. Right, left, avoid those barrels on the infield, and then as soon as you can, get accelerating up to the penultimate corner, Kumo, which is a really critical corner, because if you get a bit of momentum through here, you can then carry it onto this new final corner. Take a look, it used to be level, now it's banked. It comes right up in the drivers' faces. It's the Arie Luijendijk-Bocht. You go in low and then you work across the track and exit right up by the barriers on the left, the Tech Pro barriers, over this crest. You don't really realise there's a bit of a crest there, but over the crest you go, then down onto the start-finish straight. Right now, of course, at low speed. Imagine that at full racing speed for the Aston Martin. That would be very, very impressive indeed. And it certainly provides an opportunity for drivers, if you get a good exit from there, to get closer to the car in front, use the toe, and then hopefully be in a position to have used that slipstreaming to make an overtaking manoeuvre into Tarzan, which isn't always the easiest place, but it's to make a passing manoeuvre. But I can't find a driver who hasn't tried one there. So 2 qualifying sessions, 2 very much jumbled up grids. Because Bastian Buus, yesterday's winner, starting on pole position, but 2nd on the grid. One of the 2 Toyota Supras, Gael Castelli. That's car number 8, which he shares with Stefan Lemeray. And the sister car, Timothy Bouret, will start that. So 2 Toyota Supras in the top 3 positions. And Timothy Bouret, he runs with the number 66 on the door and shares with the very rapidly rising French star Antoine Poty. Bob Herber, always right in the mix. He's an AM runner, but get this, he qualified 4th fastest. That's considerably better than he did for the first race. So this is very much the rarefied air. But Bob, he doesn't like anyone else sharing his car. He comes in for his pit stop, doesn't get out of the car, doesn't have a driver replacement. He does the whole hour. Doesn't gain an advantage but at the pit stops because there's a minimum pit stop time. But he drives on his own, and Ibrahim Okyai also doesn't like anyone sharing with him at the moment. So he runs also in the AM class, and he's sharing with no one. The 2nd of the 2 Boristan Automotive Motorsport BMWs. He had a good race yesterday. Well, let's go down to the grid, because Gemma has caught up with Jörg Wiebauern right at the front of the order.
Jörg, down here on the 2nd row of the grid today. Yesterday you had quite a storming race from 11th down to finishing 3rd.
Yes, that was quite an exciting race. The start was pretty much blocked. I could not get past anywhere. Then we had contact. I could overtake like 2-3 cars towards corner 3. And then there was a big spin from Yakoma in Schaaflag.
Yeah.
And that really helped me up. I had to stay behind because I didn't know was he going left, right. You know, we just kind of wait, come on, go somewhere. And then, yeah. So I was pretty much stuck there, but did the race. Then later on, Nikolai took over. And yeah, he could catch up one after the other. And also the full course yellow helped a little bit in the end. So yeah, we're pretty happy with P3 overall.
Well, if you can climb up from 11th to 3rd from 2nd row of the grid today, it should be a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's always the word should, huh? It's I should, would have, like, yes, but we would like to. And yes, there's a internal battle with Jan and Daniel. yeah, maybe we can turn it around this time. Better luck for us and make a victory. I hope so. And let's keep fingers crossed for it.
Have a great race. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much to Jörg Wiebahn and that 21 Porsche Cayman. Those two Porsche Caymans just looking so good for Allied Racing. First and third yesterday, but really the story of the race, as Jörg explained, they were tripped up when this car, the Porto Ticino entry, went for a spin on the approach to Schivlak on the opening lap. Somehow everyone avoided that, and that didn't get back to the top 10, but that was a scary moment. But the Caymans looking particularly good down the start-finish straight. But again, a different mix of cars. Yesterday we had two V8 Racing Chevrolet Camaros, big rumblers on the front row of the grid, and they were the story for much of the race. But today they are further down the order. In fact, the better place of those is in 10th place for Team Nabur. So a different mix of cars at the front end of the grid. Might not be a different mix come the end, but definitely wanting to start at the very sharp end is a good thing for Allied Racing. So just to reiterate, Allied Racing, Porsche on the front row, then the two CMR Toyotas, one on the front row, one on the second row, and then Bob Herber, the leading AM. The Celestar Racing Team Mercedes completes the second row. Allied Racing second Porsche starts on row number 3. That's Nikolai Moller-Madsen alongside the fellow Porsche Cayman, or Century Porsche Ticino. Jagiz Gedik will start today down in 8th position along for the Borusan team, and then he'll hand over to the incredibly popular Turkish racing driver Sem Bolokbazi. If you ever look at social media, he has such an enormous following. Team Nabur starting 9th today. Thought he was 10th, but obviously I have to check my grid. I think one car may have been moved back down the ranks, but for V8 Racing, that's the metallic blue one. If you like metallic green cars, this car, number 30, had a really, really good run yesterday. But Paul Celias ended up spun at the Hugenholzbocht and a tyre off the car, off the rim. And it was actually quite hard to get that car moved. I think the tyre exploded as he came in. But anyway, that car went very well in the hands of his teammate Willem Meyer. But Celias wasn't very long into his stint when that happened. So he'll be looking for a clean run to the finish. Luke Ibanez, this is a car, the NM Racing Mercedes, that's been really strong this season. It's picked up 2 wins, but this meeting, only a 9th place for them so far, so they'll be having to make their way forward. But a very well-balanced driving lineup, so that certainly gives them scope to advance. J.M. Littman in this weekend, a British racing driver who drives anything, anywhere in the world, any weekend he possibly can. And he does enjoy racing the Porsche Caymans. So he's with the Auto Orlando Sport team. And starting from about the 6th row of the grid. That's a bit higher than the car was placed yesterday when it started at the tail. And the Aston Martin starting down in 14th position, not where you'd expect it to be. Valentin Hasclo, but look for the speed from that car in the opening laps of the race. That was the car that came through to 2nd place, but it must be pointed out qualifying was in very, very difficult conditions. Today, very much another day. And track conditions absolutely fine. So we've got this grid with a few cars you don't expect to be at the back, down towards the back, and a few you don't expect to be at the front who did really, really well in qualifying, including that. You can just see the yellow front right wing of the car starting 4th on the grid. Pole is on the ground, is right in front of you, starting 3rd on the grid. In fact, I know what's happened. One of the Toyota Supras must have been moved back down the order from my qualifying sheet, because we should have had the second one of Timothy Bouret starting 3rd. So Bob Herber starting 3rd on the grid. That's absolutely mighty for the AM Challenger in that yellow Mercedes. I'm just going to look back down. Okay, so that's why Nikolai Moller-Madsen's car will be starting from 4th on the grid. So obviously the number 66 Supra is starting further down the order. I'm looking right down towards the back of the pack to try and pick it out. Oh yes, there it is, weaving with the black nose, the replacement nose on that Supra. So Bastien Bus, Gael Castelli, they are on the front row of the grid. Porsche Cayman alongside Toyota Supra. Then Bob Herber, the AM class leader in a Mercedes. Nikolai Moller-Madsen in the second of the Allied Racing Porsche Caymans. 3rd row, Joel Prometheus. That car got spun yesterday. Better run desired today. Ibrahim Okyai, also in the AM class. Better placed the 2 Borusan BMWs. Then Barato, really good run for him for Auto Orlando Sport. And the 2nd Borusan BMW in 8th place. And then V8 Racing, big rumbler, number 9, Timon Nabur, and Paul Celias, fellow Dutch racer. Luke Ibanez, look for progress for the NM Racing Mercedes, grey and red, and J.M. Littman making his championship debut. Then Timothée Beret, that's where he's ended up, not 3rd, but 13th on the grid, alongside Valentin Hasclo. Both those cars had the potential to be at the front. Jorge Cabezas Catalan, he's in the 2nd of the V8 Racing Camaros, the black one, and Mark van der Aar, that car caught fire in the pits yesterday, so didn't complete the race. The second of the Aston Martins, Nicola Gomar, he was the class winner in the AM class yesterday, alongside Gabriele Piana. Really expect the Italian to fly in the second of the RN Vision STS BMWs. That was a car that came good towards the end of the race. Likewise, that 27 Aston Martin is definitely going to be making progress from down towards the tail of the field. We've got an onboard camera riding alongside Valentin Hasclo, so look for him making progress, and also that Toyota Supra that will be starting alongside him down where, in the sort of depths of the grid, you don't expect to find those two cars. I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to not just the onboard footage from the Aston Martin as they turn into Tarzan, but what it's going to be like on the opening lap as they go through the bank corner at the Hugenholzbach, the third corner on this lap. That's going to be absolutely mighty. So as the formation lap goes around, the drivers at the front end of the grid, knowing some of their chief championship rivals are down outside the top 10, they know they mustn't wreck this opportunity. They must absolutely nail it, not make any mistakes, pull clear, stay clear. It's great to see just ahead of this 1 hour race, the second of 2 1 hour races for the GT4 European Series here at Zandvoort. Zandvoort almost the spiritual home of the GT4 European Series, so it seems. Certainly the Benelux countries have been strong supporters of this championship. It's in its 13th year now. It's grown like Topsy. And it's not just the numbers, it's the quality of the car, the variety of makes, and it changes almost year by year at the front end. The Toyota Supra effectively new to GT4 this year, and it really is becoming very popular. Low in numbers at the moment, but people see how wheeled it is. The Porsche Cayman's been around for longer. Good to have that back at the front end of the grid, but with the Aston Martin Vantage coming on strong, look for that through the race as well. But all eyes now on the start, through the rolling start, out of the final corner. The safety car will go into the pits. The last few cars coming onto the start-finish straight. Look out for that Gabriele Piana car. It's the BMW at the left-hand side of your screen, high on the banking, alongside the second of the Aston Martins there, the last row of the grid. The lights go from red to green, an early flick. Now, is it going to be poleman Bastien Bus who takes the lead? It looks like an equally good start from the outside of the front row from Gael Castelli. No, the Porsche's nose is just in front. Bob Herber fancies some of the action. He might be in AM, but he'd like to be right up the front. I actually reckon he gave a little rub there to Gael Castelli. Now, look at the action on board with Valentin Hasclo. The track's not very wide and it's filled with cars. Don't make a mistake. Don't bend the car. Well, Bob Herber's been monstered already. Joel Comatius has moved the Porsche Ticino entry up into third place ahead of the yellow Mercedes. And now very busy. Valentin Hasclo gaining a position or two as they go over the crest, out the Hugenholzbach. The Aston Martin boxed in behind one of the Borissan cars. One of the BMWs. He's now got to try and swing also around the V8 Camaro, was just in front of him. That was the black Camaro just in front of the Aston Martin. First few cars just getting a little bit clear. That's their prerogative. They've got track space, and number 15 pushing really hard at the moment. That's Nuke Ibanez. We know that's a really quick car, that Mercedes, really quick Spanish duo for NM Racing, but it's busy out on the track, trying to make space, trying not to make mistakes. The Aston Martin has got past the black V8 Racing Camaro, so a little bit of patience required, but places gained. But bit of bodywork. There's been a clash just up ahead of the cars in about 4th and 5th places. Did the first two cars clash? I don't know, but a little bit of something was bouncing up and down the track after the exit of turn 10. Valentin Hasclo considering another passing manoeuvre, trying to be careful. He's right on the tail of one of the Auto Orlando Sport Porsches at the moment. Big bunches of cars going onto the banking for the first time, and the V8 Racing Camaro with Timon Nebors in 7th place. He's right on the tail of Ibrahim Okyai as they go down. But the race leader, the pole starter, Bastien Bus, puts the first lap on the board. Small gap. Then Gael Castelli. The real traffic is in about 8th place. Timon Nebors gains a place on Ibrahim Okyai, number 13, and also Nuke Ibanez seized the moment as well. So unfortunately for the Turkish BMW driver, got pushed towards the outside of the circuit, lost 1 place, lost 2 places in the blink of an eye. So at the end of the opening lap, just want to check the cars that are likely to come up the order. Timothy Beret went from 13th up to 9th, and Valentin Hasclo gained only a couple of places in the end, 14th up to 12th in the Aston Martin, but I think they will both continue to rise. But look how the first two cars have got clear. We've got a big gap back to 3rd place. Joel Comatius in the green-nosed Porsche Cayman. being pushed really, really hard by Nikolai Moller-Madsen, the second of the Caymans in that little grouping, but the one with Dorin sponsorship going to dive up the inside into turn 9 is allowed to do so. Bob Herber staying in the mix as well. He's 5th overall, by far the leader in the AM class. In fact, not by that far. What am I talking about? Ibrahim Okyai just in behind him, but the good thing for Bob Herber is now there are 2 cars between him and Okyai, because Timon Nebur in the bright metallic blue Cayman's got his lights flashing on that Camaro, got the lights flashing, trying to unsettle Bob Herber. Bob's not having that on his home circuit. Nope, gets the line covered. But right now, Naburs knows if he makes even the slightest of slip-ups, Luke Ibanez is tucked in behind. You can see the grey Mercedes with the right red flashes on its wings. Closing in now. Who's making gains at the back? 76 Porsche Cayman from Auto Orlando Sport. That's Jacopo Barato. He would have lost a couple of positions. His teammate J.M. Littman's lost a few as well. He's got dropped down to the back of the pack. Here comes another passing manoeuvre. The rumbling V8 goes up the inside of Bob Herber, just sweeps up into 4th place. Been a good couple of laps for Timon Nebur. Sorry, of course, that's 5th place, because you've got the 2 Porsche Caymans just in front. Nikolai Moller-Madsen, then Joel Comathius. And look, Luke Ibanez is going down the inside of Bob Herber, but it's the slower line because the better exit speed just, I think, has been attained by Bob Herber. He's been monstered a bit, but he's having a really, really good run in the AM class there. Yellow Mercedes. Oh, and look how fast the Supra's coming on the tail. Timotei Beret has caught this group. He's right with Luke Ibanez now. Started quite a few rows behind Luke Ibanez, but they're both making decent progress. Bob Herber will resist as long as he possibly can, but he's having to work very, very hard indeed. Thank goodness it's a dry track. It affords so many different cornering lines. Yesterday was a little bit greasy in parts today, a much warmer, more clement day at the end of September. Timotei Beret still trying to pick up paces. Places left, right and centre. Look for the Supra with the black nose now. Just demoted Bob Herber another place or 2. And then Bob looks in his mirrors. He's got the 2 Borisan Automotive BMWs, and right behind them he's got Valentin Hasclo in the Aston Martin. Paul Celia's just picking off Jorge Cabedas Catalan, who really is finding that V8 racing Camaro a little bit of a handful. It's his 2nd race outing in it, 2nd race meeting with it. He's going to hand that over to Duncan Hausman, and when Duncan handed the car over to the Spaniard yesterday, he led the race outright and had a 5-second advantage, but today it's the other side of the equation. In fact, having led the race yesterday, that 2nd V8 racing Camaro ended up in 5th place overall. Another lap or 2 would have lost another couple of positions. Certainly got very, very busy. Just managed to hang on to 5th place at the end. Timotei Beret absolutely flying in that number 66 Supra. Just remember, of course, his teammate Gael Castelli is running 2nd in the race, just under a second down on the race leader, but in traffic it's just so enticing. Now we're watching the 27 Aston Martin Valentin Hasclo being a little more patient than Timotei Beret was. They were together on the grid, but Beret's gained a few more places. And the next target for the Aston Martin Borisan Automotive, you've got Bob Herber just up at the front of that grouping. Then you've got Ibrahim Okyai in that Borisan BMW. And then the Aston Martin. Progress, well, a place gained and lost in the blink of an eye, unfortunately, for the number 15 Mercedes. Luke Ibanez went to the outside line, and then immediately there was a clash, and all the work. That's the tail end of the field going past him. Now in stone last position behind J.M. Littman as he rejoins. There'll be another recovery drive from Luke Ibanez. What a shame. He was really having such a good run. He got up to 6th place. Could easily become 4th. Clattering over the curves, all fair and square. Down into turn 9 they go. Around the outside, or more to the point, up the inside came Timotei Beret, and around went the NM Racing Mercedes. Everyone else goes, thank you very much, and then moves on through. Up at the front of the end of the race, Bastien Bus just turning into Tarzan. Next car across the start-finish line, Gael Castelli, 1.1 seconds in arrears. 3rd place, Nikolai Moller-Madsen. So yesterday, the Allied Racing Caymans were 1st and 3rd. They're running 1st and 3rd now. Timon Nebur, he's had a good run. Picked off several places, up into 4th place in the V8 Racing Camaro. Now Valentin Hasclo riding out of Tarzan through Gelachbot here, right on the tail. What's he going to do about Bob Herber? Is he going to go high? Is he going to go low? He's taking the high line. It's quicker on the exit. You sort of fleetingly lose sight. Bob Herber's taken the slightly compromised line, and you can see more momentum with the Aston Martin up over the rise right now onto the tail of Bob Herber. Bob just comes across. You're not going past me at the Rob Slaughter Matterbock. Not many people do go past there, but we have seen passing manoeuvres if a driver's had a better run down the inside at this corner at Chevlac, but Bob Herber's been around the block too many times to leave that door open. It's a scary place to pass. Your maximum commitment, you can't see the corner the whole way through, but the real body language of the Aston Martin is going up the inside into turn 9. If there's enough space, Bob Herber's left enough space, but then Bob's on the correct line when the track then starts turning to the left as they go towards turn 10. So the yellow Mercedes, the AM class leader, still the AM class leader, still in front of the Aston Martin. So Valentin Hasclo is going to have to think about where to pass next. Well, the next opportunity is going to be into the very next corner. Hans Ernst box, he gets his nose sort of up the inside. Bob Herber's got to go somewhere. He turns in, but then he's compromised for the second part of the corner. Should be a better exit for the Aston Martin. No, Bob Herber has it covered. So Valentin Hasclo, and Valentin's got to look in his rearview mirror. He's got Jagi's Gedik right in behind him. This is 7th, 8th and 9th positions at the moment. So Valentin Hasclo is going to try to get a really good toe out of the final corner. Down off the start-finish straight they go. He's right under the rear wing of the Celestar Racing Team. Mercedes goes to the outside line. Now Bob takes the more compromised inside line, and Valentin sweeps around the outside, but it's a long, long way round. But he's got the move done. That was very, very good. That was patience being rewarded. First and second, by the way, 1.1 seconds has become nearly 1.6 seconds. Bastian Boos, Allied Racing car number 22, the Porsche Cayman, stretching its legs clear of Gael Castelli's Toyota, which has got 3.3 seconds over the second of the Allied Racing Porsche Caymans. That's in the hands of Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Then 2 and a bit seconds back to Team at Nabor, the rumbling blue Chevrolet Camaro running fourth on the circuit. Timothy Beret, though, these Supras are impressive. He's got himself up from way down the order. I think he was 14th on the grid. He's up to 13th on the grid. He's up to 5th now, and he's starting to hunt down Team at Nabor. So that's the story that's unfolding. And don't forget, he had that clash that sent Luke Ibanez down towards the tail of the field. Luke has already gained 1 position and will be picking off more, but really in terms of a big haul of points, it's gone away, unfortunately, for the NM Racing Team this weekend. That black nose Toyota really having passed Joel Comathius. There's Joel in the green Porsche Cayman. Now with the Aston Martin, Valentin Hasclo right on his tail. Timothy Beret definitely setting off after Team at Nabor. Right, change of scenery for Valentin Hasclo. Last time around it was the yellow Mercedes of Bob Herber. Now he's got to see what he can do about Joel Comathius. The Century Porticino Cayman. I like saying that actually. Yeah, definitely that Toyota in 5th place. Just going to the bottom of the screen now. Timotei Beret is gaining on the car in front. 2.5 seconds. He took 0.4 of a second out of Team at Nabor. Valentin Hasclo still biding his time, still trying to get up into 6th place. Started down in 14th on the grid. So you'd say it's been a very good run to gain so many places, but what he's seeing is the cars ahead are now getting smaller. They're getting away. He's got to get past the Ticino Porsche as soon as he possibly can. Joel's quick. Joel's been racing for a long time in some pretty quick machinery. He knows what he's doing, but I must say, in terms of outright pace, I think Valentin in the Aston Martin for AGS events has just got a little more speed so far this season. Again, he managed to get a better run through Masters up the inside. Of course, out of our image, behind the graphics on the left of the screen, is the car that he just managed to pass. Sometimes quite difficult when you turn into turn 9. You almost lose sight of the car on the outside. You're focusing on the apex of the corner, which is down to driver's eye line right. And into the pits comes Jacopo Barato. So he's fallen down the order for Autolando Sport. Looks so he's got a puncture being replaced. And Jacopo was running in about 15th position, so he's down to 18th place and last in the race at the moment. Luke Ibanez, by the way, is now up to 16th with that place presented to him, and his next target is Paul Celias. So Mercedes races Mercedes, and that's just behind the 99 Camaro. Oh, big run of cars in behind. There's Paul Celias, which is at the top of our shot with the green flashes on his Celestar Racing Mercedes, and the next car to catch him, well, in fact, having caught him and passed him, sorry, I hadn't caught him, moved so quickly around this lap. Luke Ibanez has just picked up 2 drivers. He's picked off Celia's and Cabezas. His next target is the Aston Martins of Nicolas Gomar. He's trying to pass him going down the start finish straight. There's the black nose with the orange band of Nicolas Gomar. He's got to turn in right across the nose of Luke Ibanez, but Luke has the performance in his car, performance in himself to make a move, but he's certainly gaining places quickly. Luke Ibanez, yes, 14th place, started the lap in 16th, 2 places gained, more to be gained. There's one of them right now, down inside Nicolas Gomar. His next target, Gabriele Piana. Gabriele in the BMW. No, sorry, it's the sister car, beg your pardon. Mark van der Aar is the car next to be picked off. Yeah, it's the BMW, the red and orange flashes on its turquoise livery. The sister car, Gabriele Piana, has got up to, check the grid, 10th place overall. His is the one with the yellow flashes on the flanks. Bastian Boos, haven't had to talk about him too much. He took the lead at the start from pole position, now 1.8 seconds clear of Gael Castelli. Castelli 3.5 seconds, 3 3/4 seconds clear of Nikolai Moller-Madsen. It's all even at the front. Luke Ibanez continues to overtake. Mark van der Aar alongside him, but Luke tends to not take no for an answer. That's been a feature this season. What's going to happen when they get down to the Hans-Ernst-Bock? The BMW stuck its nose back in front. Mark van der Aar, for now, holds on to that position. It's a 5-car battle for 12th through to 16th places. Paul Seelers at the back. Luke Ibanez still in that battle, can't get past Mark van der Aar, but taking a trial move at pretty much every opportunity. This next one is going to come at the end of the main straight. Through the final corner they sweep, high on the banking, down over the crest, onto the level ground. He's got a good toe. Nicolas Gomar in behind also has a good toe. Pulls out a little bit early to stake his ground, trying to hold off Jorge Cabezas Catalan, but the point was about the Mercedes trying to get its nose up inside Mark van der Aar. They may have even run, but Mark is not letting him through. Well, why should he? Right. Dive down into the Hugenholzbock. Mark van der Aar went in wide. Initially, Luke Ibanez did, but he just had a bit more grip in the Mercedes, and he was able to adjust his line. He's now side by side. This is going to be brave. Track coming his way, but Rob Slottermacher Bock, Mark van der Aar pulled straight across his nose, entitled to do that, but it's very, very close. We're dealing in really, really small fractions here. Almost a change of paint, but Mark van der Aar being very, very stout in his defence. Again, in terms of pace, well, a corner that's so popular for passing, turn 9, if you just get a decent run through, a good exit line out of the Masters Bock, then you've got scope to do so. And finally, Mark van der Aar had to cede the position. Bob Herber still fighting hard. He's got the other of the RN Vision STS BMWs close behind him, and in between you've got Bob Herber flashing lights. Bob still leading the AM class. He's lost another position since the start of the lap. Yagis Gedik has got past him. But on championship form, you'd expect the BMW with the yellow flashes on it in behind Gabriele Piana to go on by as well. Gabriele races all around the world. GT4 very much a speciality, and the Italian dives up the inside into Tarzan at the top of our screen. 4 cars still fighting behind, so another place lost by Bob Herber. He started so loftily in 3rd position on the grid, but still leading the AM class, though. That's what he's come here for. But if he gets to race with the guys at the front, he's very, very happy with that as well. So it's been fun, but he can't resist the form of those BMWs as they come past him. Gedik and Gabriele Piana both demoting Bob Herber there. So Bob now down into 10th place overall. Next car in the AM class is Ibrahim Okyai in the 2nd of the Borusan BMWs, who's about 7 seconds further back. So Bob's got a comfortable cushion in the AM class in that yellow Mercedes. In fact, the biggest gap on the track is the one from him back to the 2nd car in the AM class, which is now Gedik. For Mark van der Aar, a lap ago he's being pushed around the circuit by Luke Ibanez. Spaniard has got past, and now he's got another Spaniard on his tail, Jorge Cabezas in the black Camaro. And in behind them, Nicolas Gomar and Paul Seelers at the back of that 4-car pack, the grey and green Salazar Racing Mercedes. He's quick, he's just got to find his way past, but as you see, with 4 cars fighting, there's very little track left for Seelers to put that Mercedes up the inside. He's trying up the inside into the Hanzo's box. I think that could lead to a little bit of rubbing. No, Nicola Gomar protects his position. Quite right to do so. The lead, by the way, still Bastian Buss. Another 7 minutes, the pit window will be open, but the Dane is going to stay out as long as he can. It's stabilised. It's just a constant 1.8 second gap between him and Gael Castelli. Gabriele Piana 1-1-1 now. Fancies a chance to get past Yagis Geddick. Looks like he hadn't managed it at Tarzan, but it's a two-part corner. By the second part, he was up the inside and moves himself up a position. So Gabriele Piana up to 7th place overall. He ought to be able to pull away. Don't forget, he started right at the tail of the field. He's done well. 7th place, that's impressive. Graphic says 8th, but we saw him just make that pass on Geddick, the driver listed in 7th, so now it's his 7th. There we are, graphic. Once he had that position, the driver who seems to have to defend all race so far is Mark van der Aar. He's down in 12th position, and now he's being hustled even by Jorge Cabezas. And the black Camaro fancies its way up the inside. Dives up the inside, it's not quite enough. Mark van der Aar, he does look in his mirrors, but he's not prepared to leave anything open, so he closes the door time and again, and he's very happy racing at close quarters. So just to reiterate, we've got an hour of this race, nearly 20 of those minutes have elapsed. Within 5 minutes, or just over 5 minutes time, the pit window will open. I would suggest that the drivers at the front of the field will stay out as long as they can, and anyone caught in a lot of traffic, like at the back of this busy group, down in 15th place, Paul Celias, I think he's as quick, if not quicker than the cars ahead, but there's no chance with 3 cars fighting for position ahead of him to make a move. And Timothy Beret has suddenly come onto the scene. I didn't spot him dropping into the pits, but he's made a pit stop and he's come out onto the circuit, so that's before the pit window's open. He must have picked up a puncture or something. Don't forget, Timothy Beret had a bit of rubbing with the NM Racing Mercedes. Maybe there's a puncture. So Beret at the back of this pack with the black-nosed Toyota Supra is actually there in race position. So whereas he climbed up to, I think it was 5th place, I think the Toyotas were as 2nd in the hands of Gael Castelli and up to 5th from 13th for Beret. He's had all that work undone. Bastian Buss, though, started on pole position. One of the 2 Allied Racing Porsche Caymans. 1.8 seconds has become 1.9 seconds, it's nearly 2 seconds. Gael Castelli not being pushed from behind, so he can concentrate on his racing lines. With the sister car for CMR having had to make that pit stop, he's very much challenging for the team, carrying their hopes. 3rd place, Nikolai Moller-Madsen, the 2nd of the Allied Racing Porsche Caymans. Tiemann Nebor still in 4th place, but he's got a comfortable cushion. He's 7.5 seconds clear of Valentin Hasclaux in the leading Aston Martin, which is in 5th place overall. Now, I suggested Paul Celias might come in early in the pit window because he's bottled up in this battle, and just seen his teammate Willem Meyer lining up in the pit lane, helmet on. So I guess the team has taken that conclusion as well. Timothy Beret picked up, immediately gets past Paul Celias, and he's going to pass, one would think, Nicolas Gomar as well in the Aston Martin. Into the Hans-Ernst box, he's got in front of Gomar. Gomar trying to suddenly defend his position, slightly out of line there once the Supra came past. That was half a chance for Paul Celias in the background. Lights are flashing to distract him, but I think Celias knows he'd probably be given the signal, you're going to come in as soon as the pit window opens. So 2 cars have made pit stops. One, Timothy Beret, just moved up to 14th place, and possibly even more than that. He may get past Jorge Cabezas on this lap. The other car that took a pit stop, we saw it in the pits, was Jacopo Barato, one of the 2 Orlando Sport cars, also having a puncture replaced. But the real pit stops, the regular pit stops, the preordained pit stops will be starting in 3 minutes' time. Then the pit window will stay open for 10 minutes. Gabriele Piana has now picked off Joel Comathius. Places being gained all the time. Joel in 7.18, now into 7th overall. Gabriele up to 6th. And unfortunately, Mark van der Aar has come, after all his staunch defence, has come a cropper. Little spin, gathers it. Well, you can see tar marks all over the place. So on this lap, Well, let's take a look at the replay, and lost it all on his own. Scary point to lose it up towards the on the exit of the Rob Slaughtermacher box. I don't think he actually even touched the barriers, but Mark had been fighting with Jorge Cabezas with the black Camaro, and that was fighting over 12th place. No troubles, no traffic at all for our race leader, Bastien Bus. Still 1.9 seconds clear of the Toyota of Gael Castelli, who's still got under 4 seconds, 3.8 seconds over Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Those gaps have stayed near identical. But in the battle for the AM class, suddenly we've got Bob Herbert with a lot of company. Bob 9th overall, just looking to see crosses the start-finish line, still in the AM class lead. Ibrahim Okyai in the other Borusan BMW is a little bit further back. And suddenly, as if from nowhere, got clear of all the traffic, he ended up behind Luc Ibanez after that spin, fighting over about 6th position when I think he had a little bit of contact with Timothy Barret's Toyota. Has just started banging in fastest sector times of anyone. He's still down in 10th place. He's still 2 and a bit seconds behind Bob Herbert. Here's Bob Herbert in the yellow Mercedes. Maybe if we have a long shot, we will see Luc Ibanez, the grey and red NM Racing Team Mercedes, but he's suddenly lapping really, really quickly. So it really is a case of what might have been for NM Racing. There it is. Sort of metallic grey, gunmetal colour, if you will, with the red flags. And for a team that's picked out 2 wins, they took 2 wins from their first 5 starts in the championship, followed by a 17th in the second race at the Nürburgring, and 9th yesterday. They do well to get 9th today. Luke is now actually just closing on 9th place, but it's been a struggle for them. But the pace has been there. That's been the annoying thing for the Spanish team. Spanish team taking the initials of the owner, Neil Montserrat. He'll find frustration. He'll also find pride that Luc Ibanez has done such a good job here to gain positions, lost all those positions, is now gaining the back all over again. But in 15 seconds, the pit window will be open. And maybe Luc Ibanez will come in early next time around to hand over to his teammate Javier Loverat. But right now he's going to see if he can gain a place or 2 before then. But if he finds it hard to pass, he might as well pit. Pit window now open. 35 minutes of the race remain. 10 minutes for the pit window. Now, in front of the race, it was 1.9 seconds. The gap between Bastien Bus, Allied Racing, Porsche Cayman and Gael Castelli, 1.6 seconds. And there goes the move, very easily done by Luc Ibanez. And also, at that point, Bob Herbert knows full well he's just trying to pick up maximum points, not overall, in the AM class. He's leading the AM class. Ibrahim Okyai is 6 seconds further back down the track. But as predicted, Willem Meyer will be the first driver to take over. Paul Celia is the first driver to get out. Certainly being frustrated in traffic there, and it was a sensible call to come in as soon as they possibly could. Bastien Bus, car 22, the Porsche Cayman, leading the way around. I wonder what the history of the duck is on the side of the car. Must find that one out before the next round of the championship. Led this from pole position, just did enough at the start to get down into and through and then out of Tarzan curve in the lead from the car that started alongside the Toyota Supra of Gael Castelli. 1.9 seconds to be the gap, went down to 1.6 seconds. Looks so it's back closer to 2 seconds now as Gael Castelli goes on to his 16th lap. Yeah, just over 2 seconds, nearly 2.1 seconds between them. Nikolai Moller-Madsen has been there or thereabouts, hasn't gained anything on Gael Castelli, but we have nearly 6 seconds between first and third. But then there's a gap of just 2 seconds back to Timon Nabor, who's rumbled his way forward for V8 Racing. He's up in 4th. 5th place, Valentin Hasclo, but still 7 seconds between them. So Valentin's climbed high, and maybe he'll be an early pit stopper. Let's see. But the front runners staying out as long as they can on the clear track. Yeah, it's the midfield that's diving into the pits right now. Joel Comatius has come in. Of course, he ended up in about 7th place. Yagis Gedik in the pits. Jorge Cabezas in the black Camaro in the pits. Timothée Barret, well, he's at his 2nd visit to the pits. The black-nosed Toyota Supra, of course, that came in, we think, for a puncture to be replaced, but had worked his way from 13th up to 5th, and it's been a very frustrating race for one of the CMR Toyota Supras. But the sister car running 2nd, that's not frustrating at all. Really good, clean run from Gael Castelli. And as long as clear track ahead of him, Bastian Buus will stay out, and he's got such a strong teammate to hand over to. He's got Jan Kasperlik. They took the win in the second race at the Nürburgring, won yesterday's race. The Black Jorge Cabezas Catalan is out. That was always going to be one of the earlier pit stoppers because he's got Duncan Houseman to hand over to. Duncan started from pole yesterday and had a 5-second advantage when we got to the pit stop window. Built it, and then in the end, you know, the clear point is that Duncan is very quick in the Camaro around his home circuit at Zandvoort. Has been competing here for decades, and that car will certainly be coming back up the order. Came into the pits listed in 12th place. Could be a top 10. So with the first 6 drivers not diving for the pits, not yet anyhow, Bastian Buus leads by, suddenly on that lap it's gone from 2 seconds flat to 3.9 seconds. What was untoward? Was the traffic that blocked Gael Castelli? That is an interesting development. It was hovering at 1.6, 1.8 seconds, got to just 2 seconds a lap ago, now 3.9 seconds. Well, this is an absolute dream for Bastian Buus, because that suddenly gives him an advantage that could be used for the rest of the race. And for Gael Castelli, he'll hand over to Stefan Lemeray, but that is very frustrating indeed. Didn't see what occurred there, so busy was I looking at cars coming into the pits. It's still in second place, but it also means that Nikolai Moller-Madsen is now much closer. He was nearly 4 seconds down in third. It's down to just 2.2 seconds his arrears. So Allied Racing leading the race and third, but suddenly third is much, much closer to the CMR Toyota in second place. Bastian Buus able to pick his line, pick his moment. What a luxury to be leading this race. But the Dane, competing in the World Karting Championships as recently as 2018, very, very short on experience, but very, very quick indeed, gaining experience all the time. And I must say, in this race, qualified on pole in difficult conditions, was quick in practice as well, led from pole, pulling ever further clear. Really, really impressed with Bastian's performance. And look how the gap has gone out between first and second, 4.1 seconds, but more importantly, come down second to third, 1.4 seconds the gap. And Timo Nebor, number 17 Camaro, only 1.5 seconds in arrears in fourth place. So whatever went wrong for Gael Castelli, I wish I knew what it was. He's continuing to lose a little bit of ground, so I can't second guess what it might be for the Toyota Supra, but all of a sudden to lose 1.5 seconds in one lap and then a few tenths on the next lap as well. So instead of sitting pretty in second place, he's now got a lot more pressure from behind. That Camaro does sound fantastic. Yeah, V8 racing, love their racing, love their V8s, and always so popular over the last half decade in particular in this championship. Running cars that make a good burbling noise. And they don't just make a noise, also very, very successful as well. So it's great to have them on board. So of our front runners, which one is going to go into the pits? Well, they've only got 4 minutes remaining in which to make at least the entry to the pit lane. 4.1 seconds. It was looking comfortable for Bastian Buus. Now it's looking super comfortable with that advantage. Gael Castelli, I think, has sort of stabilised his pace around the lap. Yeah, looking at Nikolai Moller-Madsen's gaining a little bit here, losing a bit elsewhere. So the gaps are going to stay much the same. Still fascinated to know as Bastian Buus continues for another lap. And for him, it must look as though he's out in a test session. Gael Castelli coming into the pits. The car in third place. Nikolai Moller-Madsen coming in to hand over to Jörg Wiebahn. And in the background, Timo Nebor moves into second place overall. He's going to delay his pit stop for one further lap. I don't think you've got much more scope to gamble beyond that. So the cars that were running in second and third place, but with a diminishing gap between them, come in. Gael Castelli, Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Gael Castelli hops out of to hand over to his teammate, and that looks all nice and orderly. There, Stefan Lemeray, the Belgian racer, now taking over the Cayman. Sorry, the Supra. The Cayman is being handed over to Jörg Wiebahn by Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Bob Herber comes in the background of the shot. Of course, he's running solo, so he stays on board while the crew just check tyre pressures. But team manager's got the stopwatch in his hand in the background of the shot. He's on the radio just telling Bob how long he has to be at a standstill for. There is a minimum mandated time for a pit stop, so you can't just come in and rush out again. You have to stay for a certain amount of time, and that also doesn't compromise teams that are doing a driver change. They've got time to get that done. So for Bob, he has to sit there and wait, but he's done well. We're still in the tail end of the top 10, so really, really good run for the AM racer. Bastian Boos, be a big risk. His lap times at the moment, 1 minute 43 his best lap, so he doesn't have much scope for staying out a great deal longer. Bastian sitting on, well, he's 6.1 seconds clear of Team Nabur, but for Bastian, one has to presume he's going to dive into the pits this time around. Oh, he's toying with us, but he does dive in. So Bastian's run coming to an end, and Jan Kasperlik will take it over. Can they make it 3 wins on the bounce? That would be super impressive. In a championship as competitive as the GT4 European Series, to get 2 in a row is very, very unusual. To make it 3, well, you're really, really on top of your game. Bastian Boos stops on the spot. Likewise. Oh, we've got someone trying the access road on the outside. Got it wrong at Tarzan. One of the 2 Autolando Sport cars. I'll give you a choice. It's either Dario Cerati or... I think it's Dario Cerati. 75. It was a 50-50 guess. It's Jacopo Barato. Big save there. Very fortunate that it's not gravel all the way up to the tyre wall. Gabriele Piana gets out of the 111 BMW. Got that up to, I think it was 6th place from right down the order, right at the back of the field. Bob Herber's already got on his way. And now Valentin, no, that's Nicola Gomar just coming into the pits in his Aston Martin. Aston Martin's really moved up the order. Tia Nue has taken over from Valentin Hasclo. Nicola Gomar will hand over to Gilles Vannelet. By staying out late, Nicola actually moved into the lead of the AM class, up to 4th overall, in fact, while everyone else was pitting. But look, the pit window is open for a little longer. Just checking down the charts, everybody has made their pit visit, so all have understood the rules very nicely. It's not about getting out of the pits before it gets down to just 25 minutes on the clock. It's about entering the pit lane. They've all managed to do that. The sun is still shining very brightly on the circuit, but most brightly on Allied Racing. And Jan Kasperlik out back into the lead of the race. Bastian Boos built that little comfort zone, but what happened in the force in the rotation of timing of pit stops and coming back onto the circuit, the second Allied Racing Porsche Cayman has come out behind the blue V8 Racing Camaro. That has been a change of position. So let's just run through. Jan Kasperlik has taken over the previous race-leading Porsche Cayman. That's car number 22. The car that was second, the Toyota, has been handed over to Stéphane Lemeray by Gael Castelli. Jo Rapanga has handed over the 17 Chevrolet Camaro to Team Nabur. And so it goes down the order. Jörg Wiebahn, the second Allied Racing Cayman, Tia Nue in the AGS Events Aston Martin number 27. And Baz Schuten has taken over from Gabriele Piana. But the race lead is Jan Kasperlik, Stéphane Lemeray second in his Toyota Supra. So they're running in the order they were. One of the drivers had the most dramatic time, one of the quickest drivers, but he had a few stumbles down in the paddock. Luc Ibenio.
Luke, that was an impressive drive. We saw you picking everybody off one by one and working your way back up through the field after you had a bit of a moment.
Yeah, we have a very good pace. We have the speed. We have a little bit contact with the other Toyota, with the 66. I was doing a good start. We put a very positions, but we have the contact with last to P9. I think it's very good. The car is very fast, the pace, and now we finish in the podium, but it's difficult.
It is difficult, but you weren't taking no for an answer from anybody. You were just making sure that you got past.
Yeah, I will demonstrate my speed, my aggressive in the track, and don't touch anyone, and he touched me, and I demonstrated, and I think all look me, and Mercedes, I think it's good for me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you can hear the frustration in the voice. He was quick, Luke Ibanez, but now it's in the hands of Javier Oliveras, the NM Racing Team Mercedes, running in 9th at the moment. Got a few targets up ahead. He's certainly got Cem Bolokbazi to try and pick off next. But we've had this change of order because the first two have stayed as they were. Allied Racing 22, Porsche Cayman, now in the hands of Jan Kasperlik, leading Stefan Lemeray by just under 3 seconds. But Jo Rapanga has got up into 3rd overall. He was 4th before, his car was 4th before the pit stops. Timo Nebur handed over to him, but he's got Jörg Wiebahn, who was 3rd, back into 4th in the 2nd of the Allied Racing Porsche Caymans. Theo Nue up to 5th in the Aston Martin, taking over from 5th from his teammate Valentin Hasclo. Baz Schuten holds on to 6th. Joel Prometheus is still listed in 718, but by my reckoning he started that car. Let's just double. Yeah, Joel Prometheus should have been handing that over to Ivan Jacob. Ivan Jacob is up on the graphics, so yeah, it's just a confusion on my timing screen. So plenty of close racing, and we heard from Luke Ibanez, and his car is the grey Mercedes with the red flanks on it, and that is right on the tail of the Borusan Automotive BMW. That's in 8th place, Cem Bolokbazi. 7th place, Joel Prometheus, not Joel Prometheus, sorry, I beg your pardon, we've already covered that. Ivan Jacoma, so the Porsche Cayman, the green Porsche Cayman, holding that 7th place, being pushed very hard by the Turkish team, the Turkish racer Cem Bolokbazi, who looks inside, looks outside. He's going to have to be committed to going the whole way around the two apexes, the two apices, side by side, and then there's a clash. And unfortunately, if things go wrong, it tends to happen for the Porsche Ticino Cayman. Edged over into the barriers on the left, flipped up like a rodeo ride, front left. A front right wheel from the driver's point of view at an angle it doesn't want to be after clashing with the barrier. The car is stationary in the track now. What is going to happen in terms of clearing this up? That was the battle that was over 7th position. Around the outside of Tarzan went Cem Bolokbazi, and then there was a side-by-side contact and a body blow, and one car suffered. The other did not appear to suffer at all. The one that suffered was the Cayman, into the barriers, up into the air, down onto the ground, broken front suspension. The car stationary in the track. Just want to check the margin between 1st and 2nd in case we get a safety car period. The car's suddenly slowing. We've got yellow. Is it a full course yellow? Full course yellow it is. 2.7 seconds was the advantage that Jan Kasperlik had at the head of the race over Stefan Lemeray, and then another 4.5 seconds or so back to the car, the V8 Racing Camaro in 3rd place. Right, here's a chance to see what it feels like at full course yellow pace with the car, the Aston Martin, in 5th place overall. Driven by Theo Nue. He's 6.5 seconds down on Jörg Wiebahn's Cayman, but all those gaps will stay identical because the cars have to run at a maximum speed. They have a limiter on the cars. Press the button, drop the car down to that pace. It's in 4th. But what's happened is Stefan Lemeray has gone right onto the tail of Jan Kasperlik. There was 2.7 seconds between them. Unless he made that up while nobody was looking just before the full course yellow was thrown. Unless the lead car backed off a lot more. We've now got, obviously, medical car or whatever going around, course car going around Tarzan ahead of our race leader. Jan Kasperlik leading in that dark grey and aquamarine Porsche Cayman. 2nd place, Stefan Lemeray, but to my eye, quite a lot closer than they had been the previous time around. Before the interruption, the next car into the shot should be Jo Rapanga. Okay, the medical car into position. So Jo Rapanga in the Camaro. We've got 3 makes of car in the top 3 positions: Porsche, Toyota and Chevrolet. 6th place there is Baz Schuten, but he's a lap ahead, or more to the point, the car in front is a lap down. That's Dario Cirati, one of the 2 Autolando Sport Caymans. So a moment of quiet, a moment of slow driving, a chance for the drivers to just assess the situation. Let's take a look at the move. This is the battle for 7th place. The blue BMW goes to the outside. Side by side round the corner they go, all nice and clean, but it's a case of getting your speed on the exit. 2 wheels on the grass on the exit there, on the exit of Tarzan from the BMW. Tries to force his way back on the track, a little flick. And the Cayman really came off worse. They're hitting the barriers, and the NM Racing Mercedes, Javier Oliveras, doing well to avoid it as it came down to terra firma. Clearly that has got to be, driver's got to be extracted from the car. The medical vehicle is there to assess after that Bronco ride, and obviously the broken Ticino Porsche will have to be removed from the circuit. So the full course yellow, I think, will be running for a while. in some ways that's good news for the race leader Jan Kasperik, but then again he'd rather just be trying to head for 3 wins on the trot without interruption on the circuit. There we are, we've gone out to the more natural gap between these two cars. The race leader Jan Kasperik, just remember, it was 2.7 seconds to the good when the full course yellow, the lap at least, the full course yellow was thrown. The CMR Toyota Supra in behind Stefan Lemeret. And then there's a little bit of a gap. In fact, it's a much bigger gap than it really ought to be. Joro Panger needs to pick up the pace in 3rd place. Can't pick up the pace, but the gap has gone out against him. It was only a few seconds, about 4 seconds. It's now 11 seconds back to the car in 3rd place. And it's not uncharted territory for Stefan Lemeret, because he and Gael Castelli have already picked up a pair of 2nd positions so far across the 7 races held so far, and a 3rd. Championship Challenge slightly hurt by a couple of retirements in the first 3 races, but since then that car's been getting better and better. AGS events, they've had a really good season with their 2 Aston Martins, one running in the AM class and one going for overall honours, and Valentin Hasclo has 3 second places to his name along with Theo Nue. Nue driving now, but more importantly they do have that first win, which they picked up at Misano. Seems quite a while ago, but it was only back in August. So 5th place actually a bit of a disappointment for the Aston Martin team, but they started way down the order in 14th place. So the fact they worked up to the front, patient in the hands of Valentin Hasclo, was very impressive indeed. Right, the car is listed in 3rd and 4th position, coming nose to tail down the start-finish straight at suppressed speed under this full course yellow. Joro Panger and Jorg Wiebahn. We heard from Jorg before the start of the race about keeping things clean and tidy. They've done that very much so far. Lost a bit of ground on the opening lap and gained a few positions since then. But we've got this stoppage. They've already put down the quick dry cement dust, if you will, at the various points where the Cayman has been since hitting the barriers on the exit of Tarzan. Between Tarzan and Gerlachbach, obviously liquids have been dropped and now have been dried up with the suppressant. So, during this hiatus, let's take a look back at the start of the race. All clean at the front. Bastian Boos on pole position, the Porsche Cayman. Alongside in 2nd place, Gael Castelli tucking into 2nd place in his Toyota. Bob Herber, the yellow Mercedes, way up the grid from normal in the AM class Mercedes, and just running very well indeed. Riding on board with Valentin Hasclo on the opening lap. Very, very busy indeed, and the track not wide in places. You had to bide your time and look for an opening. One car looking for an opening was the NM Racing Mercedes, gaining positions from way, way down the pack. All sorts of cars fighting for positioning, and again, great gaggles wherever you looked. And Gabriele Piana, the number 111 BMW, that's the bright yellow one, picked his way up through the order very well indeed to get up towards the top 6. But it was at the tail of the top 6 we saw this clash that unfortunately for Luke Ibanez was given a spin around. That cost him time, and the car he rubbed against him then came in to make a pit stop and possibly picked up a puncture from the contact. That was the 2nd of the CMR Toyotas. But up front, it really was all about the number 22 Porsche Cayman from Allied Racing. In behind, the racing was fantastic, and then there's a scary moment for Mark van der Aar. He defended so well, and losing it out of the Rob Slottermacher box. That was a save without hitting the barriers. Then at the time of the pit stops, it was all nice and standard. Here's a change. Car number 21, the 2nd Porsche Cayman from Allied Racing. Big save from Dario Cerati, who had a scary moment down, connected it just before hitting the tyre wall at Tarzan. So that was a job well done. And then fighting over 7th place, around the outside goes Cem Bolokbazi, trying to hold the inside line, and looked so the job was done for Ivan Yakoma. But as the BMW came back off the curbing, there was a tiny clash, and the consequences were way greater than it looked they would be. But so for Ivan Yakoma, the Century Porto Cecchino Cayman into the barriers at the back of the paddock and then down to earth. That's why we've got a full course yellow at the moment, because that was a real rodeo ride for the Swiss team. And at the moment the order is as it was, of course, before the full course yellow was served, with the exception, of course, that the Ticino car out of the race. They was spun around on the opening lap yesterday on the approach to Schivlach, got away with that, but today, unfortunately, a little bit of contact and hitting the barriers. It's their race is run today. So that number 8 CMR Classic and Modern Racing Toyota Supra in 2nd position. but the race lead still in the hands, of course, as it ought to be, because he was in front when the full course yellow was thrown, of Allied Racing's Jan Kasperlik. He and his teammate Bastian Boos took victory in the second race at the previous meeting. That was the Nürburgring. Took victory in yesterday's first race. Must be said, as the clock continues to count down, the safety car now moving around to the front of the field, just moving ahead of Jan Kasperlik. Now that what that does mean is 2.7 second advantage will come down to nothing, because with the safety car in front, it means Stefan Lemeray can close onto his tail. But where are the rest? The next car should be the blue Camaro. That has now got to pick up the pace. Should have actually done that. Well, of course, you couldn't during the full course yellow, but now the safety car is out. Now everybody knows you can pick up your pace, get onto the lead, the tail of the lead car. That's what they're all doing, of course, staying as slow as they can be. The Porsche has been picked up. Even Chacoma has presumably been taken away in the medical car to inspect all is fine, go to the medical centre, but a lot of clear up of spilt liquids there. The barrier also being replaced, or at least pulled back into shape in the background. But barrier repairs take quite some while, so we've got 11.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Let's hope we get some more racing, but we cannot do it until all is safe to do so. Well, the driver who led from pole, his car is still at the front of the race. He won yesterday. He's Bastian Boos.
Bastian, from pole position, leading through your stint, of course, still leading, but under the safety car now. It's a long safety car.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we got into the full course yellow, and I think the Toyota gained 3 seconds on the first lap, and I think we got that back now, but it seems like the safety car running on track, so it will be a close 10 minutes in the end of the race.
I guess it's going to play into the hands of the restart.
Yeah, it will.
But the car's certainly got a lot of pace.
Yeah, the car was nearly perfect, but still it was not easy. The Toyota guys were fast, so I could not control the race as I wanted to. But yeah, I think I saved the tires a bit for Jan, so now let's see what he can do after the restart.
Thank you very much.
Well, Bastian Boos, 17-year-old Danish racer. In many ways, it's probably better the restart's going to be taken by his teammate, because Jan Kasperlik has so many years of experience. And Bastian at 17, still learning as he goes. But the sheer pace that Bastian Boos is showing for Allied Racing shows immense promise. And if he can turn this into 3 wins. Yet, let's take one more look at what happened. The BMW from the Borusan Automotive team had a little more pace, but had to take the outside line in this battle for 7th place. Even Chacoma, the green Cayman on the inside, looked as though it was even as they came out of the corner. But then the little clash, and it's almost like a heavy car makes a light car go sideways. But certainly for the Porsche Cayman and even Chacoma, that was a big blow against the barriers. A good avoidance from Javier Loveras in the background not to catch up and clash with that as the Cayman came down to earth and bounced across the track. But the cleanup has been done very, very swiftly indeed. But the clock continues to count down as the safety car leads the field around. Of course, the field now entitled to close right up onto the tail of the leader. So for Jan Kasperlik, he'll be imagining what's lying ahead. So will Stefan Lemeray, as the Belgian racer thinks, how can I possibly get into the lead of the race? But Jan has been racing in GT4 since about 2014, I think it is. So he's got lots of experience with these cars, lots of experience with these restarts. But it's such a different equation. If you're the race leader on a restart, you're the one that gets to choose when the throttle is floored, when you go. You cannot be passed before the start-finish line, but you can go long before it. But of course the car behind can't anticipate, because if they try and guess when the car in front is going to go and go ahead of it, then that will be over and out for them. Clock continuing to count down. Riding on board with Tio Nue, 5th place for Aston Martin. For the AGS events team, they finished 2nd yesterday, so this is a bit disappointing. But then again, the car had a mixed qualifying session and started from 14th, so to get up into the top 6 is impressive. To get into 5th is very good indeed. And of course, on the restart, they're right on the tail of Jörg Biebahn in the second of those Allied Racing Porsche Caymans. Linus Stern with the car in 3rd place. Jo Rapanga, the V8 Racing Camaro, that's the blue one. Stefan Lemeray in 2nd in one of the 2 CMR Toyotas, and the lead car from Allied Racing at the front of the pack, Jan Kasperlik. But all of these drivers have an opportunity, but it's up to Jan to release the car when the teams have been told the safety car's about to withdraw. That's not happening yet. They're still going around for a further lap, still to see the flashing lights in the distance of the safety car. Keep the heat in the tyres, keep the cool in the brain. think about where a passing manoeuvre could be made. And of course here, with the new option being provided, not so much by the final corner for overtaking in the final corner in the Arie Luijendijk box, but definitely the Hugenholz box with its new banking, there is scope to pass in that corner. For the Arie Luijendijk box, it's really about giving you more chance to pass on the run past the pits down towards Tarzan. On that steep banking, looks spectacular. The drivers love driving around it, and when you see the cars going 2 by 2 on the formation lap, that's when you see the inside car is way down the upper car. That's when you really appreciate just how steep it is. Certainly a new challenge for all the Dutch racers who race here year in, year out, and all the international racers who maybe get just one visit a year. So the stretch of circuit rising out of the Rob Slotemacher box, over the crest, then down into the drop. Again, TV flattens the angles, but it really is an appreciable drop into Schevellack. And all the drivers can see as they approach the corner is this massive banked gravel trap. You can see in the background of the shot there, rises so high above them, quite daunting. The track drops away to the right, and they've got to get a decent run through this corner. Mastersbach, really quite a tricky turn. One thing I've noticed, of course, in the running order is that Duncan Hausmann got ahead of Javier Oliveras when the NM Racing Mercedes, the Spanish driver in the Spanish team, had to back off to avoid that bouncing Porsche Century Ticino Cayman. So that was a little unfortunate. What is fortunate, we will get racing again. Safety car in at the end of this lap. So we'll have about, where are we now? Yeah, 5 minutes of racing to play with. And for the top 5, will the order stay the same? For Jan Kasperlik, will he stay in front? He's got to have a good opportunity to do so. He can dictate the pace at the restart, but Stefan Leberay, he'll be ambitious. Then again, he knows if he goes a little bit wide in a passing manoeuvre, Jo Rapanga will dive up the inside or round the outside and sort him out and take that second place. So a lot to be considered. Of course, the absolute goal for the driver in second place is to get as close to the car that's starting from the front, and I would say that Stefan Leberay didn't do the best job of that because he didn't quite react when Jan Kasperlik floored the throttle very early. His right to do so. He doesn't need headlights on, he doesn't need to flash people out of the way, and in fact Leberay in second place is now under big pressure from behind. Jo Rapanga having a look, and suddenly Jo got slightly out of line, and Jörg Wiebahn tried to get his Porsche back up into third place as it was before the pit stops, and Theo Nue at the back of this run. We're riding on board with him in the Aston Martin, looking to see if he can find a way by. When you're running fifth in a pack of 5 cars, you're going to pick up the consequences of someone else's move in front of you. Quite possibly a better exit for the Aston Martin, right on the tail now of Wiebahn. Wiebahn had half a look at Rapanga down in the dip. As we can see, the front 2 cars starting to just get a little bit clear, but we're only talking about 2 seconds covering the top 5 cars. And now as they dive down through Schevellack, I can see in the distance Stefan Leberay is getting much closer to the race leader, to Jan Kasperlik. Down to Mastersbach they go. Through Mastersbach they go, first to fifth, still in that order. Stefan Leberay cutting a tighter line as they go through turn 9, but then a slightly wider line on the exit, so slight compromise for him there. 6th place, it's Cem Bolokbazi, and he's got Duncan Hausmann gaining places hand over fist. Hausmann has already passed the number 111 BMW for an RN Vision, drops it completely. That's in the background of the shot, and now the Dutchman who led yesterday's first after yesterday's race from pole on the grid, challenging, pushing really hard, but Cem Bolokbazi, the Turkish racer, has him covered for now. As but the tail came right out of the Cayman of the Camaro in third place. Third place has suddenly, I think, gone back to 5th. No, back to 4th. Still in front of the Aston Martin, but place gained there by Jörg Wiebahn as Jo Rapanga dipped wheel into the dirt on the exit of the Hans Ernst bocht. I said places would be gained by consequences of mistakes, consequences of drivers pushing a rival to one side on the track and someone else diving through the gap. But Allied Racing, before the pit stops they were 1st and 3rd, after the pit stops 1st and 4th, but now 1st and 3rd all over again. That was a very unfortunate moment for Jo Rapanga there. Has he got the pace to get back past Jörg Wiebahn back into 3rd place? Let's see. Certainly the sister car making progress. Duncan Hausmann up to 7th place in the second of those Camaros. Then side-by-side traffic. Oh, that was very hairy indeed between, I think, Duncan Hausmann and Cem Bolokbazi. And I think at Hugenholz box there might have been a change, so we could have Duncan up to 6th place. Let's look in the background of the shot. Is the black Camaro coming to be? Yes, it is, but it's side-by-side with Bolokbazi as they approach Schevellack. That could be very hairy indeed. First to have really pulled clear. It's still though Jan Kasperlik from Stefan Lemre, and the move has been made by Duncan Hausmann. He's now up to 6th, brooking no answer. Battle for the lead of the race though, 2.5 minutes remain. Jan Kasperlik in front. Stefan Lemre was given that chance to close in when the safety car took to the front of the field. The gap had been 2.7 seconds before the full course yellow. But this opportunity, hasn't taken it yet, but he's getting right onto the tail of the race leader. Race leader Jan Kasperlik, just enough of an advantage to pick his own line, but the Camaro's got back ahead, up into 3rd place all over again. So 3rd became 4th, 4th became 3rd. Still in 5th place though, that's unchanged for Thio Nue, but the more the two cars in front fight, the more they're going to present him an opportunity. But he also has a double toe down the start-finish straight. That is always very useful. Get as close as you can to that Porsche Cayman through the final corner. Unfortunately, the Porsche Cayman a bit slower onto the straight than the Camaro. Had he managed to get close, that would have taken the Aston Martin with him. Down the straight, starting to find a bit of a toe from the Camaro. The gap between them is all tiny. It's 6/10 of a second. Not close enough to gain. In fact, the closer battling is around 10th place. The NM Racing 9th place. Javier Loberas just getting along with Willem Meyer. So the two grey Mercedes, it's still the one with the red flashes ahead, the one with the green. Meyer closing in, disappointed yesterday. 3rd Mercedes in that group, still keeping the 2nd of the Supras in behind. Unfortunately, the extra pit stop for Antoine Potti's car in the first part of the race, presumably, I feel, for a puncture replacement. Let's put him down outside the top 10. May he get into the top 10, but look, just over a minute remaining. He's got to make a move very, very soon indeed if he's getting a place. He's at the back of that grouping. He's got to pick off Bob Herber. Bob is running in 11th. And actually, this restart's been quite disappointing from Jörg Wiebahn. There was a mistake that he benefited from Jo Rapanga, got up into 3rd place, but the fact Jo picked him off within a lap, got back into 3rd. Now, in fact, suddenly we've got Duncan Hausmann going up. In fact, Jörg Wiebahn must be having a problem. He's lost 4th place very quickly to Thio Nue, and then immediately lost 5th place to Duncan Hausmann. So is there a slow puncture? I can't see if there was any body rubbing, or was it just a loss of attention? But suddenly Jörg Wiebahn, instead of taking a 3rd place yesterday and a 3rd place today, he's looking at 6th place. He's now got Cemboluk Bazi getting onto his tail in that aquamarine BMW in the background of the shot. Well, Duncan Hausmann's having great fun in that black 99 Camaro. His next target, the Aston Martin, which is sitting in front of him, Thio Nue. Is he going to be close enough? 10 seconds on the clock. Our race leader's already onto this lap. Duncan Hausmann down the outside into Tarzan. How many hundreds of times has he tried to make that manoeuvre? But he knows wide on the way in is sometimes tight on the way out. That's his approach, but Thio Nue has just enough in hand. Just enough to keep his car in front. Over the dust as they go through Gerlach Boch goes Duncan Hausmann, happy to try a different line, but he's got to try a different line. This is the final lap of the race. This is his last chance to try and get into the top 4, because of course Thio Nue is up to 4th. Jo Rapanga back into that 3rd position. Stefan Lemre 2nd. Jan Kasperlik half a second to the good in the lead of the race. There are the lead duos into Chevlac for the final time at racing speed. Oh, and in behind them, you certainly think that the top 4 is now possible for Duncan Hausmann. A podium, too much of an ask, but he's really worked forward. He's gained about 4 positions so far since the restart, and he's trying to dive around the outside. I think he may not make it work there, but he's working hard, doing what he needs to do at the moment. Yeah, Nue looking unflappable in between. In the background, Jörg Wiebahn still holding off Cemboluk Bazi, may keep the place, but Duncan Hausmann up the inside at turn 10. Slower exit speed though, but side by side, he'll be on the wrong line when they get to the next corner, to the Hans Ernst Boch. He's got his nose marginally in front. If he can get a bit more, he's going to start pulling across, but Thio Nue is going, you are not pulling into my space. And Jörg Wiebahn in the background suddenly thought, maybe there's hope I can regain one of the positions I've lost, but Duncan Hausmann's got it covered. Lots of exit speed for him in that black Camaro, right on the tail of the Aston Martin, but I think he has shot his bolt. Surely the Aston Martin, between the final 2 corners and the run down the start-finish straight, will have enough in hand to hold on to that 4th place. Likewise, Jan Kasperlik will go on to win the race by, it'll be around half a second from the Toyota Supra of Stefan Lemre. Jo Rapanga, he'll be pleased with that 3rd place. In the background, the Aston Martin, Thio Nue, did take 4th place. Duncan Hausmann, good run to fifth, right in behind. 2 cars so close on their tail. Cemboluk Bazi and Jörg Wiebahn as well. So really, really tight. Packed bunching at the end. Top runner in Pro-Am was Jörg Wiebahn in 6th overall, only by 0.2 of a second from Cemboluk Bazi. Top runner in Am was Bob Herber, in the end only by 1 and a bit seconds from Gilles Vannelet. So the SRT Mercedes beating the AGS Events Aston Martin, but outright winner both races this weekend, Bastian Boos and Jan Kasperlik. Job really, really well done by the Allied Racing crew. Cars motoring back at full racing pace. But the gap at the end, 0.5 of a second between first and second. So tight to the finish. Of course, the field was bunched up by that safety car period, while Ivan Jacoma's Porsche Cayman was cleared up after being put into the barriers, hitting the barriers behind the paddock on the exit of Tarzan. And just going down through the classes again, just reiteration. The winning car in Pro-Am was car number 21 in 6th place overall. And that was the second of the Allied Racing Porsche Caymans, Jörg Wiebahn. He took that over from Nikolai Moller-Madsen. They're a really good, strong pairing, but is the writing on the wall? The win was small today, but don't forget the field was bunched up. But that's 3 wins in succession for Bastian Boos, the young tall Dane, and Jan Kasperlik, who's been there, seen it, done it in racing. There's the checkered flag being shown, an hour of racing and 1 lap more, and right at the end it got very, very close indeed, but the order staying to the finish. Bastian Boos, race winner. And again, just to reiterate the order down at the tail end, well, doesn't matter if it's the tail end, class positioning, 12th overall, victory in the AM class for Bob Herber. Just 1.2 seconds up on Gilles Vanelay, so been good scores for both of those in successive days in the championship. And third in the AM class was Ibrahim Okyai, who, like Bob Herber, ran solo in class. Pro-Am class, to reiterate that as well, car 21, Jörg Wiebahn brought that home in 6th place overall, takes victory in class by 0.2 of a second from Cem Bolukbazi. And third car in the Pro-Am class was Joel, well, it didn't finish the race. In fact, that was, the winner of the Pro-Am class, what am I talking about? It was the race winner overall. I don't look that high normally to find a Pro-Am winner, so for Allied Racing, both their Caymans are in the Pro-Am class. And number 22 not only won the race, but took the class. There it is, there's the finishing order. Bastian Boos started the race, Jan Kasperlik finished. Half a second was the margin after that safety car period, but Stefan Lemeray, Gael Castelli, Toyota Supras looking strong again. That's their third second place finish. Jura Panger, Team and Nabur, home ground racers in Holland, they took third place in their Camaro. Tia Nue, Valentin Hascloth, fourth, and Duncan Hausman up from way down the order, sharing with Jorge Capedas, got up to 5th at the end. Another lap, he might have made 4th. Jörg Wiebahn took second in Pro-Am with his teammate Nikolai Moller-Madsen in 6th overall. Cem Bolukbazi, Yagis Gedik, 3rd in Pro-Am in 7th. Baz Schuten, Gabriel Piana started right at the back of the field, so to get up to 8th for the BMW crew, that was a very strong run indeed. And the AM victor, 12th overall, Bob Herber, from Gilles Vanelay and Nicolas Goma, down to next to nothing with that late safety car period. And Ibrahim Okyai, 3rd in class today for Borisan Automotive. 2 cars didn't finish, the Koen Bogerts, Mark van der Aar. That's 2 non-finishes in 2 races for them here. It's so disappointing on home ground. And Joel Kamathias started, showed great speed, but unfortunately his teammate Ivan Jacoma bounced into the barriers and out of the race. But been plenty to talk about here at Zandvoort. The weather came good, the racing was good throughout, and smiles all round for Jan Kasperlik, of course, and Bastian Boos. 2 races, 2 wins. That's 3 wins on the trot. And throwing the fact they're in the Pro-Am class, they took that class victory as well from their own teammates. It's been really good for Allied Racing. Another big gathering of points for the AGS events team as well, because 4th place today added to 2nd place yesterday in their Aston Martin. You know, what you need to do in a championship is score good points and score points every time out. And AGS events have had 1 retirement, but since then it's been very, very strong indeed. The sister Aston Martin Vantage coming into the background of the shot because that finished 2nd in the AM class. But like so many drivers, a case of what if. Had we had another lap, had we not had the safety car. But for Jan Kasperlik, the safety car period was thrown during his run in the car, having taken over from the driver on the left of our screen, Bastian Boos. With all his years of experience, controlled it very well indeed. Stefan Lemeray gave it a really good lick, a really good shot at trying to take victory, but ended up half a second down in that 2nd place. And now the race-winning car makes it home. #1 on the board. Be very pleased with that. So Jan Kasperlik will be climbing out, and Bastian Buus will be there to greet him. And suddenly, with a run like this, 3 wins on the trot, this duo are looking very, very good. Running in the Pro-Am class, but winning outright. So effectively, they've got 2 championships to race for, and you can see the punching in the air of satisfaction. And let's go down and hear from our winners, from Bastian Buus and the driver hot from the car, Jan Kasperlik. That's 3 wins on the trot.
Jan, we'll just let you get your mask on. Bastian's coming round to join you. Congratulations to both of you. A sterling drive, a sterling performance from you, Bastian, and Jan after the safety car. The control was perfect, and you even managed to pull out another gap.
Yeah, first the mask, sorry. It's important nowadays. Yeah, I think the start from Bastian was really safe and was everything perfect. Now the gap melted due to the safety car, but it was not to control, so it was not easy to control, but I could keep the pace. So that's what's counting in the end. So happy to be first again. Yeah, overall happy to have a quick teammate. So all is good this weekend.
It's certainly been a fine weekend for you.
Yeah, it has. It's been a very good weekend. Yeah, fastest in both practices. You made a P4 in the quali.
Yeah.
I was on pole position, and we won overall both races. So, yeah, it's a good weekend.
Quite okay, normally you say.
Doesn't get better than that,
that's
does
quite
it?
okay.
No.
Well done, thank you both.
Thank you.
Quite satisfaction there from Jan Kasperlik and Bastian Buus. I think we're going to hear particularly a lot about Bastian Buus in the future. Very young, 17, and just didn't put a wheel wrong. Controlled the race from the start, from the lead, from pole position. Made it look very easy. Ran a long opening stint, had nobody in front of him, and could dictate when he came in. He could have possibly run one more lap, but he put Jan Kasperlik on board that 22 Porsche Cayman. And after that, Jan had to control the restart after the safety car period, after even Jacoma's Porsche was cleared up, and did everything he needed to do. Victory in the end by just over half a second from the CMR Toyota of Stéphane Lemeray. That Toyota looking more and more impressive as the season unfolds. So it's great to have another car, another manufacturer right in the mix. But let's go down and hear from that second place crew. Stéphane Lemeray brought it home. Gail Castelli kicked off.
Stéphane, you've brought it home there, a class win. That's exactly what you wanted.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I started the stint knowing that I didn't have to push like hell to catch the Porsche, because it was not the goal. So yes, I'm very happy with this. I was a bit faster than the Porsche before the full course yellow, but after it was quite fast, and I had some vibrations in the tires, so I was a bit more careful, and yeah, but we are so happy. It's the first victory for the Toyota, and it's a great team victory, because CMR and Toyota are working so well together and with us, and it's really great pleasure.
C'est super, Gaël. Je sais que vous parlez pas anglais, mais en français, juste un petit mot.
Bah, je suis super content pour le team. C'est vrai qu'on essaye d'évoluer la voiture à chaque meeting, et on a trouvé un bon réglage, et je suis super content pour le championnat. Ça fait des points, et le but c'est d'essayer de le gagner.
Thank you very much. Super happy, and very, very happy with the development of the car after each meeting. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Félicitations.
Thank you very much to Gemma down there. Good. Actually, it's quite nice having interviews in several languages there, but she jumps very happily between English and French, and a lot to be considered in this championship. I think in 2020, with everything being so compressed, it does mean the teams, we're talking about development of cars, they have to think so much harder, because they don't get chances to test in between. And all the races, it's like any sport, if you get your mojo up, you get your momentum, you get your confidence, that's a helpful thing. But also, if you're really feeling you're making progress with the car, it goes in your mind and it helps you progress at the next meeting as well. That's enough philosophy. Let's look at the trophies, and certainly very fine trophies about to be presented here. And with the 3 classes, the Silver Cup class, the Pro-Am and the Am runners, plenty of silverware. So we're doing the Pro-Am Cup, and Cemboluk Bazi and Yagiz Gedik, the Turkish racers, for the Turkish team. They will take their trophies. Yet more good, solid points for them. Eventually that was 7th overall for them, 3rd in the Pro-Am class. Jörg Wiebahn will come up. Nikolai Moller-Madsen, second place for them, for Allied Racing. You might find a theme running through this one. Allied Racing, Porsche Cayman. Because it's also the same combination, Allied Racing, Porsche Cayman, overall victors and winners in the Pro-Am Cup. Jan Kasperlik, we'll see him in a moment, and Bastian Boos, they will come out. What a weekend they've had. So as their teammates move away, our race winners, our Pro-Am Cup winners, top of the charts, stretching clear, 172 points. They're stretching away from their teammates, Moller-Madsen and Vivan on 134. Jem Bullock-Bazi and Yagis Gedik, they're there or thereabouts. It looks like it's the real fight for second place, because you have to say, in the Pro-Am class, Jan Kasperlik and Bastian Boos really are stretching clear. And in the silver class, it's Thio Nue and Valentin Hasklow, fourth overall, third in the silver class. Aston Martin's racers for AGS events, and just as the Toyota Supra is being developed very well in conjunction with CMR, so is the Aston Vantage, along with AGS events. Second place, Demon Nabu and Jora Panga, second in the silver class, third overall in the race. Popular on home ground. And then the biggest trophies of all in class, Stefan Lemaire and his teammate Gael Castelli, classic and modern racing, Toyota Supra, second in the race, and winners in the silver class. And Valentin Hasklow is very close at the top of the championship. Hasklow and Nue, the Aston Martin racers, just clear at the top, but that's looking very promising for the rest of the season. That could go anyway among the top four crews. And then in the AM class, third place, Ibrahim Okyai. BMW through and through, trophy on his own. He's not the only one in the AM class who runs solo, because the driver who won the class, Bob Herper, also did it all on his own. But the second place crew from AGS events, Nicolas Gomart, there he is, taking one of the two trophies in the AM class, and the other one to Gilles Vannelet, fellow French racer.
And we go on to the winner. He did it all by himself.
And so Bob Herber, he races solo, he wins solo, and he does it on home ground. So an extra little fist bump there. So Bob Herber for the Celestar Racing team, that yellow Mercedes that really mixed it with the big boys, and started third on the grid. So he got to fight with people he doesn't normally get to fight with. But it's the Aston Martin crew that are in front, 154 against Bob's 136. Giuseppe Jezzi third on 97. So that's the end of the trophy presentations for the GT4 European Series after two great races here at Zandvoort, and the second one in wonderful, awesome sunshine. It's been a great meeting for them, so much to think about, but really what I've thoroughly enjoyed in this was this, from the race start to the race finish, super competitive. Brilliant start from Bastian Boos to take the lead from pole position, did what he needed to do. Bob Herber challenging up the inside of the Toyota for second place, but kept back in third position by Gael Castelli. In behind very tidy, but for Valentin Hasklow, normally starts near the front. He started down in 14th place in his Aston Martin. So busy they ran from Tarzan through Gerlach Bocht and then into the Hugenholz Bocht. But I must say, down in the middle order, you can see cars almost swapping paint, but the run through Hugenholz Bocht provided so many different lines to be taken that led to a lot of great overtaking. And then unfortunately a clash that had Luke Ibanez rubbing bodywork with the Toyota Supra alongside him, and unfortunately that led to him being spun around. In fact, the Toyota then called at the pits possibly to have a puncture replaced, so both of them had their races affected. The racing side by side was just happening the whole time, and a big moment for Mark van der Aert. Did he touch the barriers on the approach to Schivlach on the exit of Rob Slaughter-Mackelbach? I think not, but it must have been within a couple of centimetres. Then came the round of pit stops. The 21 Porsche came in from third place at 76. Porsche came up just short of the barriers, thank goodness, at Tarzan. But the real story, unfortunately, in the race was a clash side by side. Jem Bullock-Bazi and Ivan Jacoma. That brought out the safety car, and it meant that our race leader Jan Kasperlik had to do it all over again in the final 5 minutes of this race. And he controlled the restart, pulled clear of Stefan Lemaire, and in behind, places changing left, right and centre. Jora Panga ran into the dirt, fell down to fourth, back up to third. But at the end, it was all Jan Kasperlik. He did what he needed to do. Jora Panga closing in third, Stefan Lemaire second, but it was Allied Racing, 3 wins on the bounce. What a run.